Right, we're back on the Mini. Didn't expect to see me so soon, did you? But I've been getting lots done. I've got lots more welding done. I've been spending lots of my Saturday and Sunday mornings in the workshop getting some fabrication done on my little Mini. And yeah, I'm at a point now where we have made some solid progress, and I'm pretty confident I might actually be able to get this car painted this year, which would be great. I've not got the Allegro in the workshop anymore. I'm not working on that car now, so I've got way more time to work on my own stuff. So obviously my priority is the Mini, and I know people keep asking about the Princess. It will come back, I promise. The Princess will come back. It is, you know, it is just used for storage at the minute, but the Princess will come back. I am super enthusiastic about what I've got planned for that. But right now, we're getting on with the Mini. This is basic work, and this is work I can smash out. So let's get cracking. In the last episode, I mentioned that I didn't want to weld the rear seat bench to the heel board yet, because I wanted to put the subframe in and to kind of square up the heel board, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Basically, the subframe obviously bolts onto the boot floor and then obviously onto the front of the heel board. So I needed to make sure that it was all square with new bushes in, just how it's going to be on the car before I weld that in, because a couple of mil out, probably not going to make that much difference really on a road car, but I just wanted to make sure it was nice and square and right. So I got the rear subframe bolted in, and then that allowed me to do all of these plug welds along the top. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to seam weld it from behind a little bit. So there are more welds to do on here, but it's in now and it's square, which then enabled me to do the next job, which was getting these companion bins in, or companion boxes, whatever they're called. And to be honest, these were actually one of the worst fitting heritage panels I've had. The bend radius on here was nowhere near. And it's quite daunting to have to try and reshape them, because when you actually attach this panel in, or put it in, should I say, if you close this gap up by hand, what happens is the whole B pillar of the car like comes in, which is obviously no good. So you need to make sure that the panel fits well before you begin to try and clamp it in, or again, you're going to end up misshaping the kind of outer shell of the car, and then the doors are never going to fit right. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed that these didn't fit very well. And where the bolt goes through for the seat belt, it goes through there's a little box, and there's a tunnel inside that box which doesn't line up with the hole on the other side. So I'm going to have to probably modify that, like bend it, stick a drift through it or something like that to try and get it squared up. But these are in. I've still got some final welds to do on these, but they're in and in enough. Obviously it's attached to the seat, it's attached to the floor, it's attached up the B pillar. They still need the welds doing kind of inside the box itself, and then across the back of the heel board. But they're all in, along with the sill strengthening panels, which I don't think were in the last episode. This is all really basic stuff, but it's really satisfying to do, and that's one of the best things about working on Minis. It's really satisfying stuff. It's just fun to do. But once I'd got the companion boxes in, the next job was then getting on with tubbing the wheel arches. So the idea behind tubbing the wheel arch is basically just allow you to lower the car body more without the tyre making contact with the top of the wheel arch. I'll show you what I mean. So the whole idea behind tubbing the wheel arch is to be able to lower the car more. It's okay if you got the stock 3.5 inch wide wheels, because they fit inside the wheel arch obviously, but the wider you go with the wheel, the more the tyre sticks out. And how I had this car set up before was I had Dunlop reverse rims, which are for sale if anybody wants them. I don't want a lot of money for them, I just want to go to a good home. Proper reverse rims, not copies. And they basically stick out from the body without wheel arches on. The problem is, if you got the car low, you go over a bump, the tyre basically hits the wheel arch. Now, but it hits the wheel arch and there's still actually, like, if you look, a good 1.5 inches of clearance if the wheel was inside the body, but it's not anymore, it's outside the body. So in order to get that clearance back, you essentially cut out this section where the wheel arch comes down into that seam. And then you basically gain like a good 1.5 inches. So again, this is a super easy mod to do. You basically take a special tool, this, and you just stick it up into the wheel arch, like I did, and then you draw round, so you know where the top of the wheel arch is. This sharp bit gives you an edge to cut along. You just scribe that round, cut along there, cut straight down the inside, lop it off top and bottom. Of course, mine wasn't attached anyway because I've changed the boot floor and I've got no closing panel in. That bit drops out and then you put in a nice new piece basically, and that gives you then a flat wheel arch. You'll need to bend a new retaining flange or kind of just body seam on this quarter panel, which again is not too difficult to do. You bend a new flange on there with, again, my specialist tool, wherever it's gone. It's basically just a piece of bar with a slot cut at the end of it and you just bend it up. Yeah, and that gives you a new seam. You put your new flat panel in and guess what? You've got your 1.5 inches of ground clearance back, which means I'm going to be able to run the car a bit lower. Probably not any lower than it was before, not ridiculously low, but it just means that you've got that wheel arch travel if you go over a bump. And again, I'm going to be using split rims, which obviously are a bit more fragile. So I don't be bending wheel barrels by hitting the car body because, you know, it's been forced up by a bump or whatever. So that's been a really key job that I wanted to do. I should have done it years ago, how I was running the car before, but it doesn't always make sense to cut out the not rotten parts of a car. But yeah, this is one instance where, yeah, I've been cutting out pieces that actually aren't rotten. So the last bit really on this area of the car where I've basically fully reconstructed it, new companion boxes, new floor, new heel board, it's all new basically other than the outside quarter panel, which guess what, is also going to be new, is the closing panels. So these attach the inner sill strengthener, the heel board, the companion bin and boot floor, and wheel arch. This panel attaches along all seams to all of those pieces and fills that hole in, basically. So I'm in it with that hole filled in, and that is then a full solid structure. So yeah, that's what we're going to do now. Basically, I'm almost ready to weld them in. I just need to prep these panels. Got to prep these panels, get the weld through primer on, get the weld through primer on the bits of the car body that need it, and then get them welded in. Just want to say a big thank you to all the people that follow me on Patreon. I post extra content on there, so pictures, kind of a bit more as and when I'm doing it. So if I'm in on a Saturday morning and I'm welding away, I tend to post pictures and the odd update video, and then other things I'm up to as well. If you fancy being a patron, you can just go through the link in the bio. It's £3, so it's not a lot of money really, is it? And it helps me pay for video editing, basically. Right, so I've got all the bits that needed to be bare metalled, and then copper primed, and obviously I've left on most of the black coating because it's a pretty good coating. And again, this side of the panel is the interior of the car. This side is obviously the exterior, but that's going to get all coated after anyway, so I don't need to worry too much about that for now. So yeah, I'm just going to get this in position now. I've got all my holes in the correct places so that I can get some decent plug welds in, get this clamped in bang on the right position, get it welded in, but I'm not going to weld this because I'm going to replace this portion of the quarter panel, which is also why I've not welded it to the bit of wheel arch I've tubbed. So yeah, I can weld it all in, make sure it's in the right place, and then also what this does is that tells me exactly where the quarter panel needs to go when I chop it out. That's why it's always good to try and leave yourself one element of the car that allows you to confirm where the next piece goes, rather than cutting out too many pieces. And then, you know, if I'd have cut this out, I would have one less piece to confirm that's original where this panel fits. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, get this clamped in and we get some welding done. This really is where you need a spot welder. It's fucking impossible. I can't even see the hole. I'm in position to do the weld. 30 seconds later, I've done the weld. Right, so one of my first little repairs to do is just this bottom inch and a half of the quarter panel. Again, it's a super simple one. I've actually managed to buy the panels. It's got about 6 inches more panel than I need. I actually don't think I'd ever seen one that would be rusty all the way up to here, but it's better to have more material than not enough, I guess. But yeah, we're going to be throwing a lot of this panel away. I mean, I've got corrosion about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch up. So I'm going to go a little bit further than that, and I'm going to go up to about where I cut in accidentally when I was tubbing the wheel arch. You could say, why didn't I put these in before I tubbed the wheel arches? Because that would have been easier. It would have been, but I didn't have the panels when I tubbed the wheel arches, so I'm doing it now instead. So yeah, first thing I'm going to do is basically drill a hole in here, get the air hacksaw in, zip it across, try and figure out where the spot welds are in there, because that's going to be the worst bit. Obviously it's already detached here and it's already detached here. I just need to get the spot welds out of there. Yeah, and then put my replacement panel in. Not a lot of prep to do on this. Don't need to, I'll have holes in here from where I drill the spot welds out. I'll probably need to put a couple of holes in the bottom just to do some plug welds in the bottom. Yeah, then get it in and same again on the other side. Stick to the bloody sealer on the inside. There she blows. You can see how corroded it was on the inside, look. It's all pitted and pretty close to going through there. So I've got all that chopped out, nice and easy. You can see it was kind of corroded on the back there, so it's well worth chopping out. I basically just drop that panel in, scribe it from behind, and then what I'll do is I'll cut it a little bit longer than I think I need it, because obviously I can always take a bit more off, but you go to all the effort of getting a repair panel and you cut it too small, you're a bit of a twat, aren't you? So yeah, I'll cut it a bit longer than I think I need it, and then I'm obviously just going to have to reprofile this flange most likely in order to make it fit my new wheel arch profile. So yeah, let's get that chopped. This is where I put it in the hole and it just falls through because it's too small. That's going to be about right. I will probably tack it along the top, then decide where I'm going to set it basically. I'll basically just bend it in and out to decide where I'm going to set it at. from rot to not. Still needs a little bit of massaging, but yeah, a little skim of body filler won't hurt in there. The next step is going to be these door steps and these quarter panel repairs. So we've done the quarter panel repairs at the rear. Now we've got like the front quarter panel repairs. Again, it's very pitted and there's a hole in this side. No hole in the other side, but I'm going to change them anyway. Not the easiest panel to change in that obviously I've got to weld across the quarter panel. But again, as long as you do it slowly, you shouldn't end up with too much warpage, and any that you do get should be able to kind of be taken out just by a bit of body filler, basically. So when it came to panels, I had kind of two options. There are M Machine and this brand, which I didn't know of, called Clocker Home. If I'd have gone M Machine, it's basically that piece and that piece separately, whereas this piece was a full piece, and I thought, I don't need a full piece, I don't want to change it all, but I can just chop it wherever I like then, basically. I thought this would be better. As soon as they turned up, instant regret, because this panel really is absolutely pants. Before, I didn't even take it out of the box and I knew. Like, I knew straight away this panel is pants. The radiuses on it are nowhere near like the car. How you would ever fit this, I don't know. It would never ever be right. Like, the pressing quality is so bad. I am really disappointed that Mini Spares sell this as a panel, because it is so bad. Like, this bit of the doorstep is nowhere near right. Like, I wouldn't even consider using this. Even if I was desperate, I wouldn't use this. I would make my own panel at that point, if I was desperate. Because, I mean, I only really wanted to change it because of a few bits of rust there, and because that flange is a bit crusty. To be honest, I was just going to put little pieces in. But I thought, because of the cost of the panel, I may as well change it. But yeah, massive regret. This panel is pants. I'm going to send them back to Mini Spares and email them and tell them how bad they are, because maybe nobody's told them. I'd be surprised if they don't already know, because I like to think that Mini Spares only really sell good parts. Maybe I'm a bit naive. But yeah, this panel is terrible. So I'm going to order more panels from M Machine, which is just like the quarter panel repairs I've just used. So hopefully they're just as good. And yeah, we will attempt this on another day. Right, so that's quite a bit more progress, and yeah, I feel like I'm really making solid pace on this car now. I'm starting to think about things like getting the sills on. Once I've got these door steps on and then quarter repairs done, which again are relatively easy repairs to do, they won't take long at all. Yeah, I can think about getting all the inside cleaned up, all etch primed, getting the sills on, and then we really are firing on all cylinders. What else is there? I'm pretty close to going for carbon wheel arches from Carbon Weasel. I really like, you know, handmade, nice, like made in the UK type stuff. They're a lot of money, and I'd probably be just as happy with fiberglass wheel arches that were painted, but I think on the exterior of the car, I'm a relatively basic guy, and I like to keep things simple, and I think probably just carbon wheel arches is just enough, along with the specialist components wheels, to make it look special enough for me. Everything else I'll keep relatively stock. But yeah, what do we think? Carbon wheel arches or spend the money on other stuff? Because I'm probably 90% there, but yeah, you know, basically tell me to buy the carbon, tell me to stop being a wuss and just go for them. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.